Am I the asshole for excluding my granddaughter and son from a family vacation? Throw away. So I have one biological son and granddaughter from my first marriage, and one stepdaughter and 3 step-grandchildren from my now wife. My wife and I have been married for about 20 years now, so I have seen all of my step-grandchildren grow up since they were babies and consider them like my own. My wife and I recently had the idea to take a family vacation to Mexico. We live in the US, but due to our large family size, we couldn't afford to pay for everyone ourselves. We invited all of our kids and grandkids but told them that they would have to pay their own way if they wanted to come. I will admit I knew my stepdaughter and her kids are in a much better financial situation than my bio son and granddaughter, but I wanted to pitch them the idea regardless so that they could decide if it was something they were willing to splurge on. My bio granddaughter is 10, so of course her dad would be the one paying for her. I gave everyone about a month to decide and my stepdaughter quickly agreed. My son was taking longer to respond, so I would frequently call him and my granddaughter trying to persuade them to come. They eventually declined, saying they really wanted to go but just couldn't afford to. My wife, stepdaughter, step-grandchildren, and I all left for Mexico a few months later and had a grand time. We took a bunch of photos and upon returning, I showed them to my son and granddaughter describing all the fun we had and telling them I wish they could have been there. My son and granddaughter got quiet and after they had left, my son angrily texted me saying that my granddaughter started crying because she had really wanted to go and that he didn't appreciate me rubbing the vacation and my favoritism in their faces. I didn't think I had done anything wrong, but now their reactions have me questioning if I'm TA for excluding them from the family trip. You're the asshole. Not for excluding them. You didn't exclude them, they couldn't afford to go. You're the asshole for not being smart enough to understand that rubbing it in their faces and showing them all the fun they missed is messed up. They wanted to go, but couldn't afford it. That's hard enough without you flaunting. So I would frequently call him and my granddaughter trying to persuade them. The granddaughter? She's 10, how could she commit and pay for the trip herself? Sounds like you used her to try guilt trip your son into something he couldn't afford. What a mess. You're the asshole from every angle. You're the asshole. Not for going with the step family, but for not being sensitive to the fact that your son and granddaughter missed out on the fun due to finances, and then rubbing their faces in all the great times the rest of you had. You're the asshole if you really wished your son and granddaughter could have been there with you. Knowing his financial situation, I'm sure it didn't change all those times you called to check in for the trip, then you should have offered to pay even a part of the cost. Could have called it a gift and had memories with them to last. Big asshole move rubbing your fun vacation in their faces, and the comment. Absolutely disgusting. You are toxic and are showing disgusting favoritism. Also, a month's notice? Yeah, you didn't want them there. Clearly you have a family you want and a family by obligation. You made that situation impossible for your son and did it on purpose. You're the asshole. If you weren't playing favorites you would have chosen something everyone could afford. Did you do this sort of thing to your son when he was growing up too? Sounds like you prefer your second family. You're the asshole for not showing any basic emotional understanding. But you only gave the parents a month to decide and plan? Really? You knew they weren't in a great financial situation and you didn't give them time to plan. If you gave them a year to save it, that would have been a lot better. You're the asshole. And not for excluding them like you ask, but because you shouldn't have showed them the pictures and told them how much fun you had without first taking their feelings into consideration, especially your granddaughter's. She obviously had no choice to not attend as she couldn't pay for it herself and her dad couldn't afford it. To them, it absolutely looks like you're rubbing your vacation in their face and showing them what they missed out on. To them, or at least her, it probably also looks like some kind of favoritism. And BTW, a month's notice isn't much time at all to save up for this kind of vacation. Another utter embarrassment of a father that forgets his biological children for his new family. Hope you need an organ soon. You're the asshole. I wouldn't be surprised if your son and granddaughter would be low contact with you from now on or cut you off. Did you have to rub it in her face and brag about all the fun you had? Did you offer to pay first and then your son should pay you back over time? You clearly prefer your stepdaughter, as you said you knew she was more financially stable. You chosen a trip knowing your son couldn't afford it with a month's notice. 10,000. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. A month's notice is not enough. If you